Everyone, my name is Jordan Tetrick. I am the co-founder of a company called Satellite. We are proudly based in San Anselmo. And when I say based, I mean out of my garage behind my house in San Anselmo. I have two little girls, one who is a year and a half, the other is 5. She goes to Waldorf over in Marinwood. She's there right now. I might be picking her up here shortly. So I wanted to introduce you to my company and what we're building and why. But first, I wanted to thank you for having me. We are so honored to be part of this community. We moved over from San Francisco and cannot be more proud to be here. But why I started Satellite? I spent about a decade in the CPG industry. I helped build a company called Eat Just, one of the pioneers of innovative plant-based brands. If you go to Whole Foods, you can find our products in the freezer aisle, in the refrigerator. If you go to Pete's Coffee, you can buy a breakfast sandwich made with just egg. And what I learned there is how wildly manual and outdated and clunky the consumer packaged goods industry is. I know there are some CPG brands and founders in here, and I'm seeing some head nods to go along with me. How those products that you see at Whole Foods, at Safeway, at Molly Stone's, how they got there is wildly outdated. It's done with static materials, it's done with PDFs, Excel spreadsheets, and that causes a ton of pain for CPG brands today. But while I was at Just, I noticed that it wasn't just me who was feeling this pain. It's industry-wide. The CPG industry is investing just about $24 billion in digital transformation by 2030. $4 billion of that is for information management and analytics. But why? It's because it's archaic. It's because folks know that how this industry was built needs to innovate. The products that are on your shelf today are there in a beautiful manner. You see their packaging, you see their innovation, you taste the story behind it. But how those buyers, distributors, and brokers got it there was built in the 1980s. So while I was at Eat Just, feeling this pain and frustration, I read this incredible book. It's called Upstream. It's written by Dan Heath, the co-author of my favorite book, Made to Stick. And what Upstream talks about is you can be frustrated by the fires that you're putting out every single day. You could spend your hours putting them out and then go on to the next day to put out more, or you could think upstream and prevent the fires from ever happening. And this is our take of thinking upstream. For anyone who is not in CPG today, the #1 sales tool for any brand is what we call a sell sheet. A sell sheet is the introduction of your product and your brand to customers. It's an introduction to who you are, your products, and the specifications all crammed in to a front and back PDF. But it sucks for brands because you got to cram all that in. You're dealing with constant flow of information and customization, and it causes a ton of problems. And this is what we call a dynamic sell sheet. It is a Swiss Army knife for brands. Not only does it tell their story, it features live dynamic product information, distributor codes, sample requests. It is a lethal weapon for a CPG brand today to drive distribution at efficiencies. And we could not be more proud to be doing that with some of the North Bay's own. Miyoko's Creamery is one of our brands that uses Satellite every single day. And since implementing our software, they're saving 35 hours of work per week. We are driving efficiencies internally within Miyoko's, but we're also helping them drive sales. Since using Satellite at some of the world's largest trade shows, Expo West, Pizza Expo, and soon to come the National Restaurant Show, we are driving their leads up 65%. Not only are we proud to be doing this with a North Bay company, but it's a company that's doing good. We're powering challenger brands who are building products and brands that are good for their community and good for the world. And we think the more innovation we bring to them, the better that they can do for their consumers. But it doesn't just stop at Miyoko's. Since a year and a half ago, we've brought on 300 plus brands onto Satellite. Folks that I'm sure are in your pantries, in your refrigerators and freezers. Folks like Chomps, Olipop, Miyoko's, Quinn, Aviv, Sanzo, and yes, Eat Just are all driving their businesses forward with Satellite. So our core competency today is what we call a dynamic sell sheet. driving efficiencies in sales, but it's certainly not where we're going to stop. In my garage in San Anselmo, we are taking on this massive industry with beauty, with thoughtfulness, and thinking upstream for our brands and our community. I don't know where the timer is. I think that's 5 minutes. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Again, my name is Jordan Tetrick. Thank you.